Have you ever met someone who doesn't chase texts, doesn't panic when people pull away, doesn't beg to be understood, yet somehow they're calm, grounded, and strangely powerful? They don't need constant reassurance. They don't fall apart when someone leaves. And they don't outsource their happiness to other people. Most people call them cold. Psychology calls them emotionally independent. And here's the truth no one tells you. Emotionally independent people don't feel less. They feel deeper, but they're no longer controlled by it. Today, we're breaking down the real psychology of emotionally independent people. How they think, how they love, why they don't chase, and how this quiet trait completely changes the quality of their life. This isn't motivation. This is psychological reality. 1. Emotional independence is not emotional detachment. Let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding first. Emotionally independent people are not numb. They are not heartless. And they are not too strong to care. They feel pain. They feel loneliness. They feel disappointment. The difference? They don't collapse under those emotions. Most people were taught without realizing it to emotionally lean on others. Text me back so I feel okay. Love me so I feel worthy. Choose me so I feel secure. Emotionally independent people broke that pattern. They learned, usually the hard way, that no external person can stabilize your internal world. So instead of avoiding emotions, they learned how to hold them. They don't run from pain. They don't dramatize it either. They process it. 2. They stopped asking people to save them. This usually comes from a moment most people never talk about. A breakup where no one came to rescue them. A betrayal that forced silence. A period of isolation where support didn't show up. At some point, emotionally independent people realized something brutal. If I don't regulate myself, no one else will. So they stopped waiting. They learned to sit with sadness instead of escaping it. They learned to calm themselves instead of demanding reassurance. They learned to self-soothe instead of self-destruct. Psychologically, this is a massive shift. From external regulation to internal regulation. And once that switch flips, there's no going back. 3. They don't chase because they don't fear absence. Here's a hard truth. People chase when absence feels threatening. Emotionally independent people don't chase because absence doesn't destroy them. If someone pulls away, they don't spiral. If someone ghosts, they don't beg. If someone leaves, they don't lose their identity. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because they know they will survive it. They've already survived worse, being alone with themselves. So when someone walks away, their nervous system doesn't panic. They think, that hurts, but I'll be okay. That's not arrogance, that's emotional security. 4. They validate themselves before seeking validation. Most people unknowingly ask others a question every day. Am I enough? Emotionally independent people already answered it. They don't need likes to feel worthy. They don't need constant praise to feel confident. They don't need approval to make decisions. Why? Because they developed internal validation. They trust their own judgment. They respect their own boundaries. They don't abandon themselves to keep someone else. This doesn't make them stubborn. It makes them self-rooted. And that's why emotionally dependent people often feel drawn to them. They carry a sense of stability others are unconsciously searching for. 5. They love without losing themselves. This is one of the most misunderstood parts. Emotionally independent people love deeply, but they don't merge identities. They don't say, "You are my happiness. I am nothing without you. If you leave, I'm done." They say, "I choose you, not because I need you, but because I want you." Psychologically, that's the healthiest form of attachment. They don't abandon their goals for love. They don't silence their needs to avoid conflict. They don't tolerate disrespect just to keep connection. They understand something most people learn too late. Love should add to your life, not replace it. 6. They are comfortable with emotional discomfort. This is a big one. Emotionally independent people don't rush to fix feelings. They can sit with awkward silence, uncertainty, emotional tension, unanswered questions. While others distract, numb, or escape, they stay present. This ability is directly linked to emotional maturity. They know emotions are temporary. They know discomfort is survivable. They know clarity comes after patience. So instead of reacting, they respond. That's why they rarely explode emotionally. And when they do, it's intentional, not impulsive. 7. They don't take everything personally. Here's a psychological shift that changes everything. Emotionally independent people understand that other people's behavior is usually about them, not you. Someone's coldness, often fear. Someone's inconsistency, often unresolved attachment. Someone's disrespect, often inner chaos. So instead of internalizing everything as a personal failure, they ask, "What does this tell me about them?" This protects their self-worth. They don't excuse bad behavior, they just don't let it define their value. 8. Loneliness doesn't scare them anymore. Most people fear loneliness because they associate it with rejection. Emotionally independent people redefined it. They discovered solitude is clarity, alone time is grounding, silence is not abandonment. They'd rather be alone than emotionally drained. They'd rather have peace than forced connection. They'd rather wait than settle. This doesn't mean they isolate forever. It means they choose quality over availability. 9. They choose peace over chaos. This is the final psychological marker. Emotionally independent people are very selective. Not because they think they're better, but because they know what chaos costs them emotionally. They walk away faster now. They argue less. They explain less. They tolerate less disrespect. Not out of ego, but out of self-preservation. They've learned that protecting their nervous system is a form of self-respect. Emotionally independent people aren't unbreakable. They just stopped outsourcing their emotional stability. They stopped asking others to complete them. They stopped chasing validation. They betrayed themselves to feel chosen. And here's the truth. Emotional independence isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn through heartbreak, self-awareness, and choosing growth over comfort. And once you develop it, you'll never beg for love again. You'll never fear silence the same way. And you'll never confuse attachment with connection. If this video gave you clarity, insight, or made you reflect a little deeper, subscribe to the channel. Here, we don't sugarcoat psychology. We explain the mind the way it actually works, honestly, deeply, and humanly. And if you want more videos like this, like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one.